Good morning or good afternoon. I guess it's morning.
Well,
It's morning because it's 12 where we are, Rutherford, New Jersey. It's 12:30. Steve Walls, Darren Smith live right here inside of MetLife Stadium. Post-game, Kansas City Chiefs versus the New York Jets. Darren, man, this was kind of an interesting game. It didn't go as everyone expected it to go.
Well, it didn't go according to the NFL script. The script would have been the way that they did the Chicago Bears last week. Should have been a repeat performance. Should have been a sequel in tonight's game. And true to form, the Chiefs, when you have high expectations of them, they kind of do the opposite.
Yeah.
I know we talked about a little bit pregame. They were a 9.5-point favorite. They closed down, I think, 7.5, and they ended up winning by 3. Now, they could have backdoor covered, but Mahomes got out of bounds at the 2-yard line. I'm not sure if that was just something that he just did instinctively. I'm pretty sure it was versus why. I don't know if anybody asked why he did that versus scoring a touchdown because would have put him up 10. But be that as it may, the Kansas City Chiefs escaped with the win tonight. And I would say there are questions that need to be answered, but to be honest, it was more of the Chiefs doing versus, in my opinion, what the Jets did in tonight's game.
Yeah. Now, the Chiefs had 35 rushing attempts for 204 yards. Isaiah Pacheco, over half of that, 20 attempts, 115 yards. What do you think from the rushing attack today?
They didn't do enough of it. I know in the press box, I know you were the main one talking about don't go away from it. It's working for you. Don't go away from it. And at times, we saw tonight, instead of going away from it, we saw a couple of times where Mahomes checked it up in the air.
Yeah.
I don't really think it was with enough velocity. I think you kind of said it might have been somewhat lazily, so to speak, to where he had those two. He had 2 interceptions, and a couple of times he underthrew. As I talked about before, he's underthrown Marquez Valdes-Scantling tonight, and we saw it just flooded off his hands, which it didn't look like he got enough underneath the ball when he underthrew Marquez. And so, again, I know we talked to him after the game, and he talked. Again, the defense put up another spectacular performance. All things being equal, especially dealing with the field position at the offense, or basically Patrick Mahomes put them in with those turnovers.
Zach Wilson on the other side, 28 for 39, man, 245 yards. What did you see from him? Actually, 2 touchdowns.
Zach messed up a lot of people's parlays tonight. I can promise you that. See, here's the thing, man. It's not that I don't want to give him credit, but if you look at the totality and how the game operated, it never should have been a ball game. The Chiefs were up 17-2.
They got it right.
I mean, they obviously with Juwan, with the face mask that happened in the end zone, that was a safety. But even then, the defense held, and then they gave up a field goal. But the Chiefs had every opportunity to keep going down and scoring, and the fact that they only ended up with 3 more field goals after that, 2 more field goals, was like, for the rest of the game was kind of but again, the turnovers that Patrick provided and gave to the Jets gave them life, and to their credit, they took advantage of it. Now, they did allow Wilson to, they did kind of open up and, allow him to play. But again, I blame more so that on the Chiefs play, because if the Chiefs go down and score via that before that interception, now it's 24-5, 24-2, and we're having a whole different discussion, a whole different ball game to where it may go. So instead of it going to the right or straight where it should have been, the game veered left with those interceptions, the turnovers, which gave them life, which put them in a position to where, again, you look at the turnovers that in the second half, he had an interception that was like, where are you throwing? What are you doing? And, it makes you scratch your head, and it's like, look, all these men equal. Chiefs probably end up with the best record. Patrick's not winning the MVP. Just too many turnovers versus touchdowns and stuff like that. So the good thing is he ain't got to worry about that part. He can just focus on trying to get the team in the best position, in my opinion, for the playoffs. But it's not taking anything away what the Jets did, but again, it's more so what the Chiefs did not do in tonight's game for me.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I want to point out, the defense didn't play as well as they did in the first few games, and I don't know if it was because, and I said that they didn't get enough pressure on the quarterback. I said that Chris Jones kind of kind of faded out a little bit. I don't know if you saw that as well.
Well, I mean, you got to remember he had the sack, I think, towards the end of the first half going into the locker room. But remember, I mean, with the turnovers, the field position changed because again they were getting after. I mean, they were getting after Wilson in them early. I mean, because again they pressured him so much that they were going 3 and out, and he, you started to hear some of those bluebirds coming out. But once Patrick threw that first interception and they were able to come down, I can't remember if that was the field goal or if that was a touchdown. But when he threw the interception, they came down and capitalized and got points off of it.
Right.
I mean, again, instead of the Chiefs going down scoring, putting themselves in position to extend the lead, Patrick had the turnover. They were able to, cut the field in half, and the defense had just got off the field, so now you got them coming back on the field, and that's energy and time and stuff that they're doing that takes away from it, and then they come back and score, and then Patrick comes back and throws another interception.
Right.
I mean, you can't do that because again, the defense bends. It didn't break tonight, thankfully, but it bent to the level of bentivity.
And I talked to a couple players from this area.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco being one of them.
Yeah.
Donovan Smith.
Yeah.
He's from New York. And I asked him, did that create a little bit more of an edge? He said, yeah, I needed to let them know that, hey, I'm from here.
Yeah, well, Pacheco ran hard, and he always runs hard. He knew, because actually I talked to him, I think last week or the week before, about, when he brings his family stuff, and he talked about how expensive it is to fly them, from here to Kansas City. And the fact they were able to come, he probably had his family here at the game watching them. Yeah, so for him, got a lot to, he had a lot to play for. And then just to showcase, here you are, 7th-round draft pick last year. You score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, you come back and you play at home for the first time, as a professional. And you ball out, Now I don't know how much some of this, with the running aspect is because we kind of jumped on Andy a couple of weeks ago about running the football, and now that's what they did tonight. Even though they didn't do enough to satisfy you, but they did do enough tonight.
Of course. Would this performance beat a Minnesota team? Who they play next week?
Well,
you got a lot better quarterback. You have a running game. You have a wide receiver.
The quarterback gave up a 99-yard fumble. I think he's a fumble interception return in today's game. So Cousins will give you the football. But we saw tonight that Mahomes will give you the football as well. If he's not here.
This is by far, and real quick, this is by far one of the worst games I've seen Patrick Mahomes play.
Yeah, and look, we did talk about how good the defense is. The defense itself was good, but the thing we talked about in the pregame show, and I said the best way you attack that defense is to go at it. That's what they did running the football. But again, Patrick and his accuracy tonight and throwing the football, it just wasn't there. And so I would have liked them to rely more heavily on the run, even though they ran for 200 yards.
Right.
Hell, run for 250, 300. If like you said, if your quarterback ain't got it, you gotta you gotta keep it safe because again, the scoreboard had the 23-20. And it should have been a situation where it was either closer than what it should have been or a situation where, because remember, Mahomes technically had an interception that got called back due to a penalty. So, so the outcome could have been much different from that as well. But, taking nothing away, it is what it is.
So the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the New York Jets 23-20 right here inside of MetLife Stadium. Darren, just the overall grade on the Chiefs' performance today.
So overall grade,
are we grading on the curve?
Because overall grade, if we're doing that, man, I'm gonna say a C-, man. No, look, you pass because you won the game, but in the manner what you did, and if I got to break it down, I'd give the defense a B- and the offense a D+. Which averages out to about a C-. So and
C-. Ooh.
Yeah, well,
almost a D.
Well, again, you barely play.
You can't get to no 3.0 with that.
Nah, but but you can't walk off stage with a 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Not that
satisfactory. Huh?
Yeah. I graduated above 3.0, so I'm proud about that. But again, I can't. I had to be factual in what we talk about when it comes to Chiefs because they didn't play well.
Yeah.
And again, because if you. Yeah, we're here. we're live, we're in the press box, but when we're looking down, we can see the whole film, and we can see the things that they did right and did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes was throwing the football. He did not look like a league MVP today.
It did.
And it did seem at times that he was trying to force the ball to Kelsey, which, again, whether or not people want to say it was a distraction with old girl here with Swift,
I don't think it was.
But I'm saying, I mean, but you're forcing the football to him when you had other people open.
Speaking of that, I just felt like they weren't on the same page. I think that's because they talked about a lot last week, and now that they've put a microscope on it, magnifying glass on it, the fact that Kelsey sometimes does his own thing and Patrick just kind of knows or assumes he's going to be here, and today it kind of showed that they do it often.
Yeah,
and you could definitely tell.
Yeah, you can tell. And again, kind of that's what kind of got Patrick in trouble today.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the interceptions, at least two of them I remember, came from trying to get the ball to Kelsey.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where the third one. I can't remember what the third one was at. But look, I don't want to seem like I'm too critical, but again, high expectations. You have high, I mean, and again, you saw what they did to Chicago,
mm-hmm.
and yes, they do have a good defense, but they made their quarterback look like Aaron Rodgers tonight, and he had no business doing it because, I mean, hell, we saw how he looked against lesser teams, you give me NFL any given Sunday, I get that, but not tonight. That should have been that tonight.
All right, for Steve Walls, for Darren Smith, remember, tomorrow you can catch us at Chicken and Pickle live. Myself, Darren Smith, Sean Tyler, DJ Q. We'll be talking all things Chiefs. We may have a special guest come through. Remember to come down, hang out with us. It's Burger Monday, so you might as well come down and get a cheeseburger and fries.
Hopefully burger's better than what they fed us here.
All right, thank you guys for staying up late with us. Hope you guys enjoyed the game, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.